I get the privilege of welcoming you all, and many of you may not know me, so I'm going to introduce myself. If you do know me, great, but I am Dr. Jessica Bueller, and I am married to Matt, who is a farmer, and we live in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, near a tiny town, and I have owned my own chiropractic business for the past 15 years. And we have 5 kids from 17 to 4. And I have additional certifications in acupuncture and an allergy elimination technique. So like I said, get the privilege of welcoming you. And I want to I just want to plan just a little forecast for what you're going to experience tonight, and what I hope will happen for you is that tonight will be a night that you will remember this decision that you made to come here because somebody asked you to come, and you'll be able to look back on this day and remember how much farther along you've come, and looking back on this and remembering like that was a day that really just changed things for me, and because it was like that for us. And this is a technology that we've seen incredible results with, which is why we asked all of you physicians to be on here in a space where you might be able to have a little more avid conversation that you might not have with your average person, but it might be comfortable with only physicians. So welcome. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We're going to give you a brief overview, I would like to call it, although you find it's probably not as brief as, any nerds might make something sciencey, but we're going to try to be brief and just know that there is more science, there is more research, and there's a lot more tools that we can give to you. Whoever invited you can get you more information on specific things, but we really want to give you like a big picture of the power of this and why we reached out to you. So I also get the privilege of introducing the two key speakers tonight as well. But before I do that, I'm going to just give you a little bit of my story and my background so that you kind of have an idea of that as well. So 6 years ago, I was taking lots of supplements sold only through physicians, and my hair was falling out like crazy. I had acne that I didn't have when I was a teen. I had rashes on my neck and my arm. All of my blood work was, honestly pretty perfect. I couldn't lose weight no matter what I did. And I always felt tired, even though I felt like I slept good. And all of that changed when I started activating my body. Within the first week, I had differences in all of those things. But within the first month, my hairdresser was asking me what I was doing differently. So I had a dramatic health change myself, but I wasn't really looking for a health change. And I don't know how many of you are struggling with your health. And at that point in my life, I probably wouldn't have even admitted that my health was not where I wanted it to be. But what I saw was I saw some herbs that I had used on a friend of mine in therapeutic doses, which all of you are familiar with therapeutic versus non-therapeutic dosing. And I saw the science of this, and I saw the 1,800 times more effective synergy of even just one of our products. And I thought, well, if this is real, there's a lot of people that I could help with this. And if this was real, I could really make a bigger difference than what I had in my friend, who I did eventually lose to her diagnosis. But when I was introduced to this, the 2 activators we had at that time, she was taking 9 of the 10 components in very high doses. So I already knew that there was power in herbs, there was power in supplementation with supporting the body, you guys. But I didn't know that there was a technology like this. And I had literally prayed a prayer that sounded a lot like this. It sounded a lot like, okay, God, like, If there is something better, if there is something stronger, something more powerful, something that can give me a miracle, show it to me. Like, just show it to me and I will tell other people about it. And it did not come when I wanted it to. But in his divine plan, when I did learn about this, I couldn't unsee it. And I have since gotten to see a lot of transformations in a lot of lives and make a bigger impact than I could have done one by one in my office. So I share that from my heart without even tearing up. But I hope you can feel the energy from me, because I really, really wish I had the chance to share this with that one friend. And so I really do think you're going to see that when we share our stories and what we've seen and the power of the potential of these products. I hope that you really see that there is someone that you know that is praying that prayer and that is looking for this technology. And you're going to hear about it tonight. So with that, I would like to introduce you guys to two of our scientific advisory board members. But it's not just that makes them very special. There's a lot more to them. So I'm going to start with Dr. Melody Rodarte. She is a double board certified internist and obesity medicine specialist in Arizona. She was named the Phoenix Top Doc so many years that everybody's getting bored. No, I'm teasing, Mel. But 5 years, you guys, that's impressive. That just doesn't happen. How many of you have that Top Doc of the Year for the last 5 years going on for you? She obtained her doctorate of osteopathic medicine from Midwestern University in 2002. She's also certified in hyperbaric medicine, wound care, and medical aesthetics, as well as bioidentical hormone replacement. She loves personalized medicine and equipping her patients with tools to stay healthy, as well as getting to the root cause of their illnesses. She has been married to her husband, Tony, for 25 years, and they have 20-year-old twins. They love to travel and serve both their community and internationally. And LifeVantage helped retire her husband in 2018 after 20 years in law enforcement. Thank you, Tony. And start a nonprofit, as well as open her own practice in 2019. Our other physician that I am so happy to introduce is Dr. Brett Brimhall. Brett has been married to Holly since 1996, and they have 4 wonderful children. They also live in Arizona, where he has been in chiropractic practice since 2001. He trains hundreds of healthcare providers all over the world since 1995 on a system of wellness care that he and his father have pioneered called the 6 Steps to Wellness, which I would bet that some of you have heard of or are familiar with. As part of that system, he trains on nutritional supplements, chiropractic tools and techniques, and integrated functional health care. In 2014, he had a paradigm shift when he saw changes in a patient that he had worked with for over a year with activation. He is a member, again, of the Scientific Advisory Board and loves sharing this life-changing science and opportunity with the world. So that is who we're hearing from. So I'm just like, thank you guys again for getting on here. But I also want you to know that the caliber of physicians that have partnered with this company is very high, and we don't mess around. So we're going to start. I'm going to ask Dr. Brett to start for us by sharing his story and why he wasn't interested, but what he then saw. So, Dr. Brett.
Hey, yes, Dr. Jessica, thank you. Appreciate it a bunch. Guys, thanks for being here tonight. Super excited to share this with you. And I have to admit, like, how many of you have been out there sometimes and saying a prayer kind of like Jessica did, and it didn't show up the way you thought it would, right? I think that happened a lot. So, because we're going to talk about a groundbreaking technology that's been around, since early 2000s. And just like Jessica, I was familiar with the herbs and stuff, but I was not familiar with the technology component. So my life is spent really with teaching physicians for years and treating patients. And what I remember patients brought me this science, and they brought me, this product to me, and I looked at it on and off, but I looked at the bottle and thought, well, it just doesn't look that special. It wasn't until I was working with a young man, and the diagnosis he had was autism. But what his life looked like is he was spending 35 hours of his week seeing physicians, speech therapists and occupational therapists and physical therapists to try to get to where he could be more acclimated into the real world. And still, after me working with him a whole year, he was struggling. And it wasn't until his mom gave him a product that it's a brain activator known as Nutrigenomic activator, but it's designed to activate brain. This little guy, within 2 weeks, like all of a sudden he came in my office, and instead of running around the table to try to chase him, he sat on my table. He let me work on him a whole 15 minutes. His verbal skills had improved over 100%. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, he had full sentence with me, and then he went back and he actually worked with my assistants in the back, without having to be prompted. And I had never seen something like that happen, especially with somebody I've been working with so hard. And that's when I began to see, or at least try to want to see, what nutrigenomic activation was. And so what you're going to learn about, I'm going to kind of hit some stories, is that there is a potential inside your cells that probably haven't been tapped into yet. And what if you could design products and use products that were designed with that in mind, and understanding you don't have to guess if it's going to work, because because it's been tested in the cells. And it was called cellular activation. And think of it as regulating the cell's potential, genetically. So what we know is, like what Dr. Jessica was saying earlier, is you take there's 5 herbs in the protandim nerve 2. And individually, they're great. But when you put them together, they're 18 times more effective than they are individually. Now, this shouldn't surprise us, but like, when I first looked at the bottle, I thought it's just not that special. It's because I hadn't used it. I hadn't looked at the science. So if you guys want some of the research and data, like, go back and do your research on this. There's over 30 peer-reviewed studies on protandim nerve 2, validated from places like Mayo's, Harvard, Colorado State, National Institutes of Health, National Institutes of Aging, showed that it extended lifespan by an average of 7%. So the validation's there, but it wasn't the validation that caught my attention. It was the experience that I saw in this little guy. Now, when I first got started, I had patients, probably like some of you, that struggled, right? That, even though you did everything, I was doing everything that I knew, and I was used to seeing people that other physicians had struggled with, and they'd bring them to me, and we could get results because of the system I'd been trained on. And one of those patients in particular, I called her up first because she had a daughter that was actually struggling with some of the similar things that this other young man was, but she was also struggling with the neurodegenerative process that she'd had for 20 years. And I talked to her about it. I said, let's start you on this and watch. Now, I knew what her body looked like after working with her for over 15 years, with the best of what I knew. I truly believe the body can heal itself. It wants to heal. That is designed to. But with her, we were doing everything we could. And at that point, she was on over 30 supplements. And we started her doing a nutrigenomic activation with these products that were designed and tested and proven to actually activate the body's natural healing processes. And when we started doing that with her, I watched her go from somebody that she called herself One Task Eileen, to where now this day she can go all day, every day, and she's doing things that we never thought was possible. Now, it was a process, but watching what the body can do when it's activated, and mind you, she's been doing this 8 years. I watched her from somebody that was really sat most of the time, to somebody that's active all the time. I've watched somebody that couldn't work out to now working out. I saw somebody that didn't have the confidence to be able to take care of herself, wondered, like, when would the next flare-up come, to really go out living life on her terms. So if you're not familiar with this company and the nutrigenomic activation, dig into the science later and just get your validation, because the validation has been done for us, that the experience that you'll get to have will become vastly different as you begin to learn what's possible. Just to give you a little snapshot, this was born out of science. It's been around to, some of the things they were trying to figure out how to make what's called SOD, superoxide dismutase, in the 1960s was discovered. They spent the next couple of decades trying to figure out how to make it, or get the body to make it. They found a combination of 5 herbs that did it. Now, this is the real deal. This company is publicly traded on the NASDAQ. It just rang the bell. the inventor of the protanum, got the electricity word, which is given to people that change the course of human history. So the validation's there. Go back and look at the validation, but I want you to kind of look. I want to show you a couple of slides just to help you give an idea of what it can do for us. One of the things that's critical to understand is that the body has the potential to heal if it's given the right opportunity. So this is a picture of my nephew's handwriting before he was activated. And then this is a picture after he was activated for 2 weeks, taking protanum nerve 2 in the axial. And what I want to give you is the description. Like, I worked with this little guy since he was born, and this picture was taken when he was 9, and he struggled in school. He struggled with making friends. He struggled with confidence. He struggled with a lot of congestion type problems, a lot of anxiousness, and I was doing everything that I possibly knew. On top of, I'd actually bought a $30,000 piece of equipment called neural feedback to help train his brain. Well, when his body did what it was designed to do through products that were designed to activate the cell's responses, this was his result in 2 weeks. And I watched this guy go, this young man go from someone that struggled with confidence to highly confident. So imagine right now the result of how your health is the result of how well you're activated. Are your cells activated at the level they could be? Unless they're using products that are designed, tested, and proven to actually show that they activate, probably not. I'm going to show you one other slide. Now, this next slide, there's foundational products that Life Energy makes, but what I want to show you is this. These are the genes. So think of what these products do is they help regulate the gene response for health. And when I say regulate, because you want some genes upregulated, you want some genes downregulated. And there's some really cool studies that we can send you that kind of shows how when the right ones are regulated, the other ones are deregulated that should be. So when you combine the products, and with the blue one is called Nerve 2, the one in the middle is called NAD, the one on the right is called Nerve 1. For short, Nerve 2 regulates the oxidative stress of the body. Nerve 1 regulates the mitochondrial function and biogenesis of mitochondria. The NAD, it regulates the sirtuins of the body, which are the communication parts. Now, we knew from other studies that protanum nerve 2 reduced the oxidative stress process by 40% in 30 days. What that really looked like is the body is healing at a much faster rate and repairing at a much faster rate. We knew that from other studies done, but when it was combined with nerve 2 and NAD, it went up to a 78% change, or in the effect of regulating the inflammatory response at 848% response. So not only these products designed around testing genetics and how they impact the cell's genes, but how they work together. And because of this study, it would lead to a patent, and many of the other products also have led to patents. So I'm going to let Dr. Melody cover this, but what I think about every single day, and what led to this conversation that we're having here tonight was, Dr. Melody, Dr. Jessica, and I really kind of talking about what we've been seeing over the last, I've been involved 8 years. She's been involved 5 years. Dr. Melody about eight and a half years as well. Is there's people that I've been able to impact that I couldn't before. No matter how much I tried, all the things I'd learned, the things that we've studied and researched, and I was seeing them have results that I was trying to get them to have. And I started thinking, what kind of physician would I be if I didn't start sharing with other people? But at the same time, because I've chosen to do this as a business as well, in 3 years of doing this, it allowed me to sell my practice to where I could focus on this and have more time. And one of the things that I see time and time again as I'm out teaching and training and talking to friends of mine is there's so many people out there struggling that are clinicians that are burnt out of practice, burnt out of life because of the nature of things, and they're struggling. What this can give us is this can give us more impact. It can give us a higher ability to help people. And we work together, it gives us a broader reach to help a lot more people. So now, one of the people I met along my journey was Dr. Melody. Actually, we started pretty close at the same time. And I loved her story and the impact that she's had, and she's become a good friend. And I'm excited to hear what she's going to share. Because what I've learned about a lot of the physicians that I've watched join us is a lot of we're looking to try to help people in our own lives. And we were doing all we could, and still we were not getting the results we wanted. And we maybe said a little prayer, kind of like Dr. Jessica did, and it came in the form of somebody that from a friend that shared with us. So, Dr. Melody, please take it away.
Well, thank you. And it is, it's a blessing. I think if you are on this, someone cared enough to invite you to it. And that's where I come from. I was extremely blessed to know that one of my colleagues, you never know the connections you make. I'm traditional, old school in the fact of I will still pick up the phone and call a colleague and say, thank you for the referral. Let's talk about, your patient, or hey, Dr. So-and-so, I'm calling you because I want to talk about a patient I'm sending you. So I love to network already because I feel like multiple minds can do so much more than a mind alone. And so hopefully as you continue to listen to our stories and the opportunity here, you are starting to already think about other people that you may want to share this with and how it might impact your life. Because I'm not sure where you are in your life, but I will tell you 8.5 years ago, I was at the point where I needed to do something different for my son. So really quickly, he has a condition called alopecia totalis. Excuse me. And, it was really difficult because as we did therapy with him, he looked like a little cancer baby with no hair. And I knew how to do wound care and I knew how to do all these things. And he literally would look at me and he'd be like, Mom, why can't you fix me? And as a physician and a physician mom, that really hurt. And I was doing everything for him. And I'm extremely thankful that a colleague of mine was like, Dr. Darty always does the natural stuff with the Western medicine stuff, just go see her or do whatever she tells you to do. Well, he had heard about this and wanted me to validate it. And I'm so thankful for that because the slide that if you think that Dr. Brett showed, I went home and I typed into PubMed because that's what I do. I always would go in and type in whatever someone was wanting me to look up. Well, I typed in Protandim that night and there were 16 studies 8.5 years ago, and my jaw dropped because I was expecting 0 to come up. Like the fact that 1 would come up, I would be excited, but 16 came up and I couldn't stop reading because that's what I do. I'm a researcher at heart. And I got excited to think, is there something to help my son? Is this something to reduce his oxidative stress? Because I knew about it with doing wound care. And so, fast forward to today, I'm extremely happy that I have my own practice because I don't feel like I have to keep this a secret now. With every patient that walks through my door, I can talk about this technology with them and let them make the decision, is this right for them? And because I'm always going to give the opportunity to do things naturally, holistically, because as Dr. Brett mentioned, and I know Dr. Jess will agree with this too, if she didn't, I don't know, she actually did talk about this as well, as our bodies, our cells are incredible. And given the right tools, miracles can happen. And I'll blatantly say miracles can happen because we see it every day, where in medicine, you're like, I have no other way of explaining it other than, a miracle has happened as well. So the cells are incredible. So I'm going to just switch gears really quickly and talk about the results of the study that just came out regarding our NRF2 and collagen put together. And so I don't know if you guys can hear my cat. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. This cat is at my door. So what came about last year was we released a collagen. And this collagen already was showing that it had the ability to activate, replenish, and maintain. Most collagens cannot do that. And what we were noticing in that first study was like MMP9 was reduced. Those of you who know that degrades collagen. Another protein sequence was being expressed, allowing collagen to increase. And SOD, superoxide dismutase, was also being increased at a rate of 27 times, not taking taking a different collagen. So we thought to ourselves, well, what is going on here? So the company is just incredible. They ended up wanting to look at what NRF2 plus collagen would look like. And they used fibroblasts, human fibroblasts, and get back to the person who invited you to this, because that study you need to look at. It is incredible. the fact that we were able to see that NF-kappa B was reduced, which this is that master switch regulator of the stress response. So you want to be able to have some stress in yourself, because that tells your body where something is going wrong and we need to, go fix it. But stress that is not matched, that's where inflammation really takes hold, and that's where we start to see disease. Yes, I said that big word. And so what I love about this is the first slide kind of showing what we saw here by putting them together, NF-kappa B being decreased, excuse me. And then this is also showing the downstream effects of what happens with NF-kappa B. So the fact that other gene sequences are showing upregulating and downregulation is really key here. So these are also, some of you may understand some of these downstream effects. We want to have this muted. This is reducing inflammation downstream. I love this the most because if you are not living under a rock, you know exactly what the past 3 years has looked like. And we know what cytokines and cytokine storms look like. And the fact that we were seeing these down regulated was starting to express and tell us why we were seeing the changes that we saw in patients as we were putting, like we're being honest here, we're all in healthcare, and we can talk about what we've seen with putting our patients on these products. And when I will tell you, with me owning my own practice for the last 3 years, I've been able to put them on products and watch their blood work, watch their response. And that is the greatest gift, to know that you are allowing healing to take place. And so this is our just a quick synopsis of the study that just was released. It is now patent pending. I would love, can I pass it to Dr. Brett just to talk about the importance of patents and the certifications that supplements have to go through so that you feel safe taking them. The fact that he knows this world so well, I love to go and say, how does this work? Like, how important is this? And I'd love for you guys to hear that part of the importance of it.
Perfect. So I'll go through a little bit of this. And I love hearing what you shared about all that, Melody. And one of the fascinating things, because I've been in this, my dad's formulated over 200 natural products. So I've watched this process really since I was in high school. And the process to make a supplement is not hard. Like anybody can make one, right? People can make them if they have some knowledge and have no company that can do it, right? But to have what we have and to have patents, a patent says that you have a particular product that's specific formula made a very specific way that does a very specific function, right? So here you can see this company, we got multiple patents on multiple products because you had to test, you had to prove, and then they had to submit in papers to show that it's done. And that's super hard. Of all my dad's 200 products, 0 of those have patents. 0, right, have patents. And 0 of them have studies on PubMed. So my dad over the years has formulated for, I think, 4 companies now. And each company, he'll make a similar product to the other one because they work, right? So what I love about this product and this company is we don't have to guess. So for instance, my friend Eileen, that I've watched her really come alive, and Carrie's son watched him come alive, and my nephew, like, I don't want someone to change the product. Like I want it to be the same because we're getting those particular results, especially when we know that these products have been tested and proven to regulate the gene response, to regulate the stress response. Like, so I don't have to guess, right? That's a huge benefit. So very hard to get a patent because you have to prove it, right? And you have to prove it based on science, right? You can't just be hypothetical, like I'm gonna take a B12 or folic acid and not know if it's actually doing what it says it's gonna do. And they have a formula that the patent based on the actual formula, the way it's made, the specific doses, the specific type of plants. So I think I only know one other product that I can know that has a patent in the natural space, based on a function claim.
And to follow that, I would say with the research and the statistics and having that, we know that it does what it says it's going to do within our cells, within our genes, is a p-value that is phenomenal, which, I mean, statistics is not for everyone, but
Watching something.
No.
but but if you were into statistics, our p-value for just our NRF2 product alone, if 10,000 people took our NRF2 activator, 9,999 would get the anticipated results. That is crazy good. And to be able to say that about a product is just really unheard of. And there's 11 patents on NRF2 alone. It's got its synergy. We have over 30 peer-reviewed studies. We have a patent on the tri-synergizer, patent pending on this NRF2 and collagen combo. I mean, I really do think, obviously, we said we're giving you guys a brief overview, and we've been talking for quite a while now. But I do feel like you really just need to this is not like something we're trying to beef up what's there. We're just trying to give you an idea so that you can dive into this even more, but know that the power of the products is not just because, we're not just seeing changes in people, we're seeing changes in people because there's research and science that shows that the products do what they say they're going to do within your body. And they do something entirely different than anyone else is doing on the market. And that's why we have the patents. So, this collagen and NRF2 combo, though, you guys, what have you been seeing with that combo? Because I know some of you that are watching maybe have seen some of our information, maybe not. Maybe you're expecting just the typical hair, skin, and nails, because we have some amazing changes in that. But just from a physician standpoint, and knowing what Dr. Melody just explained with the stress response in the body. And if you look at some of these markers, these are the markers that they study in autoimmune conditions, in just really intense, there's really some intense situations where these are the markers that we're just guided by, right? I think I can speak for both of you, and that we've seen a lot of things within our, not just our patients, because this business is farther reaching than that, but with others on our teams, we've seen a lot of changes in people. So we are going to give you guys a chance to ask questions at the end of this. So that is coming, and we're getting close to that. But I really just kind of want to talk to just a little bit about what we've seen in people, so you can kind of see the power of this combo. Because when we first started with this, I was not excited that we had created a collagen, and until I learned that it was a collagen activator. And then even before we knew why that was so powerful, adding this collagen to our activation stack, we were seeing the changes. We just didn't have the science to tell us why. But I mean, I would have patients that would message me, and then I'm up on PubMed trying to figure out why that happened for them. And so, even in the first few weeks, I had changes for men and women in the bedroom, and nobody's comfortable talking about that, but everybody wants to be able to do it, right? So there's phenomenal changes that they have tried lots of things. Lots of women, men too, but women just talk about things a lot more than men. So, but changes in the ability to not have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, or even just their frequency of urination during the day too. But I had women in their 30s that were, not getting up in the night anymore. I had women in their 60s that went from getting up 3 to 4 times to getting up once or twice. I had people post surgeries having, like one woman who had a toe that was dead after surgery, and it came back within a few weeks of adding the collagen to her stack. C-section, my own C-section. I have 2 C-section scars. I could always feel where they were tied off on the end. I cannot feel it at all. There's a lot of different things that you really wouldn't think of that we've seen with these. And there's been a rise in autoimmune conditions since the world went crazy in 2020 as well. So there's a lot of long haul COVID-like things that have remained, that have changed for people. And it's not to say that this is a treatment for condition, symptom, or disease. We're not claiming any of that, you guys. We're just talking from a physician standpoint, what we're seeing when we're putting people on the product. So any specific stories that either of you would like to share, or of what you've seen?
Go ahead, Mel.
No, I completely agree with everything that you said. And I love when you can really help a loved one. And I think some of you have seen a picture of like what's personal to me. I always like to bring it to just making it personal, seeing my mom's story. So my mom had survived her second bout of cancer. When I heard about this company, I first was looking for something for my son, but I loved seeing what NRF2 did to help her in her healing phases post-treatment. But then she had, those of you who don't know, when you have breast cancer, it's very common to then get a skin cancer later on. And so it's been about 10 years for my mom, and she had to have Mohs surgery on her face. And I will share with any of you that want to see. Now we have a year of her being on the collagen as well, but she was reacting to everything that we were doing. I was working with the plastic surgeon, and we were about ready to have to open it back up and close it with different types of suturing. And because she was reacting to everything. And I told my mom, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work. You're going to go on this right now. And literally within a week, the redness was already gone down. Within 30 days, you couldn't see where we had to stitch it in both sections any longer. And I mean, she got a plus because it looks like I Botoxed her face and did some fillers at the same time. So it became very personal that I was able to help my mom more than just heal, but feel like she didn't have a huge scar on her face. And so if that's happening on the outside, think about what's happening on the inside. We're grateful that we can see the reaction and the response on the skin, the hair, the nails, but think about those fibroblasts, and they're in every area of the body, what's happening. And I think that's why we got excited, knowing that why is someone saying, hey, my gut feels better, my brain feels better, my energy, so many different things. We now have the studies to show that, we were reducing some of these stress response genes and upregulating the ones that promote the fibroblasts to make a more collagen. It's as a scientist at heart too, you want to see those studies come out, because then it explains that part where I started off talking about the miracle, but it's really lovely when you can, what's really happening to give you that miracle response. So, but yeah, I've got plenty of other stories, but I'll always bring up my son and my mom because it's firsthand. They're not removed from me. I see them daily.
So I think we should finish by talking about what this business actually is. Then, how do you go about sharing this, and how sharing this actually is the business. So it is really as simple as that. But I think we should share a little bit about what this business has done for us, and and that aspect of things too. So I'll go first, and then Melody, and then Dr. Brett. So I definitely think that, that time frame in my life when I was praying for that miracle for my friend, I was also praying, like, is this what you want me to do? Is this what you're calling me to do? Is this how I am to serve you? And we all have to ask those questions in our lives of, like, do I work more and then my family gets what's left of me, or do I work less and then I'm not able to serve the patients that are under my care? Like, that fine line of that balance, right? And I really feel like I have that state now that I didn't have then, where I do feel like I can be a full and present parent and wife, and also be a full and present doctor when I'm in those roles, whichever role I happen to be flipping into. So that's definitely one thing. And having the ability to have an income that comes in that works for me even when I don't work. So when I go on a vacation, I don't have to try to jam everybody in before, go without pay for that period of time, and then try to make up for it when I get back, because I need that income, right? There's none of that. It's vacation is vacation, and it's actually enjoyable. It's such a nice thing. And really just the ability to make an impact on people that I would have otherwise never had the ability to even know. And, you know, when we talk about that, making a difference in people's lives, it's a huge part of our servant hearts, right? But it's one by one in your office. And with this business, I am able to impact people all over the world. And that is a gift that my practice doesn't give me. So that would be, for me, what I have seen. How about you, Dr. Melody?
I mean, the same. I'll be completely honest with you. And you know, those of you watching, my first job, I came out of residency, and my chief stayed on for chief resident year, and I thought I was going to go in academic medicine, and I hated it. I hated I shouldn't say I hated, that's a strong word. I did not enjoy being in the academics and having to feel like I wanted my own patients back. And so as I got into private practice, I literally walked into the doors all excited to be doing 2.5 days. I had my twins and go, you know, having a job. And the first thing he says to me is, you better find other ways to make cash, because as an internist, you'll never be in the green. You'll always be in the red. And I'm like, oh, thanks for the welcome, you know. And that's why I went on and I got the other certifications so that I could moonlight and I could cover places, because I thought to myself, well, you know, when I charge $250 and Medicare gives me, you know, $25, I do have to figure this out, because I do want to be a doctor, and I want to continue to serve my community. And so, you know, if I think back to that, him saying that to me, I'm so thankful, because I did start putting things into practice of how can I make a living being a physician, as well as you know, by seeing patients, as well as what other streams of income. I'm not going to go into real estate. I'm not going to do I don't know how to look at stocks, but I sure do know how to tell people my opinion, and what is important to me. And that's why when this came, you know, 8.5 years ago, it was really easy for me to share outside of the practice, because everybody always wants to know what I'm doing and how I'm staying younger, and they know that that's important. And so that was easy for me to do and to talk and to grow. And I'm so thankful that I did that, because when 2018 came around and I did want my husband to retire, he was able to. I had replaced his income by then. And then when 2019 rolled around and I thought, I want my own practice, I don't want to work for anybody else, I did take that leap. And I'm thankful that I did that, because as 2020 hit, I really felt like I had the tools to really practice like I needed to practice at that time, and give hope and therapies that people weren't hearing about. So I do feel it was a blessing. And at the same time, I didn't have to worry about how I was going to get paid, because I had dug this well, you know, and I didn't have to worry about being employed and getting paid by previous practices. So that's where my passion comes to telling people about the business aspect of it now, because you know, I had never, let's be honest, I'd never been introduced to network marketing before. I hadn't had a clue. I just knew that I would go to somebody's party, order what I wanted, and leave. And it's such a beautiful business majority of women do it because they want something they can do from home. But the fact that it can be anybody, and it doesn't have to be your first stream of income or your second stream, maybe it's your third stream of income. The fact that you have multiple streams of income and being an entrepreneur is exciting to me. And I love that this company is in the space of what I already am attracted to: health and wellness and activation, and being at the forefront of what medicine should be like. And so it continues to just light my fire. And that's why I'll do a webinar like this and get together with people, because I am up for sharing this gift.
Love it. And I think one of the best commonalities that I hear each of you guys say is it was a need you had in your life, like with a family member or patient, right? That opened you up, like, hey, like, and I think that was the same for me. And because I wasn't familiar with the industry, I've never been a part of one. But one thing that physicians are really good at is we're good at referring. Like we've been taught, right, since we were like in school, like you got this problem, you got to send to this person. So we naturally network with each other, and we naturally, send patients back and forth that get help. So that's exactly what this is. I built my practice originally on refers. Like I didn't advertise. So my job was to get patients well, and the patient's job was to bring people to me. And I learned as I helped people, then they naturally did that. And over the years, because I've always used supplementation in my practice, and over the years, I've probably helped Amazon store and Walmart sell more vitamins than most people. Because once I teach somebody about the importance of supplementation and doing that, a lot of times they're buying it and they buy it from me once or twice and they don't buy it again, right? So like I was helping educate, but that wasn't stuck to me. And so this model of social sharing was very new to me. And so thank goodness for mentors. I actually hired multiple coaches throughout my practice career, both in clinical practice and business, trying to learn how to do business. What I didn't understand about network marketing is if you join the right person, they can be a phenomenal mentor to you in learning how the business works. I've learned over the years, there's a handful of my patients that refer to me a lot of people. Like it's just how it is. You'll help several of them. It's just like there's those one, you guys all know those. Well, they talk and they naturally send patients to you because they love what you do. And that was the same thing here. And one of the people I met along my journey, and what this has done for me, guys, in 3 years, it allowed me to have the choice of selling my practice, my big practice. I love treating patients, but I didn't love managing people. I loved helping people, but I didn't love thinking about it all the time. Of the business side, I love going on vacation, but I didn't like going on vacation because I knew I'd lose the money at home. And if you're a self-employed person, you get this, because I had to be in the office to make money. So with this though, as we got people taking the product and they're taking it month after month, pretty soon that builds over time, and then you can be on vacation and still get paid. But I had somebody that mentored me in this. Her name is Carrie Williams, and we asked her to come up be on this call for a minute. And she's not a physician, but we're going to let you show you the income disclosure statement here. It's a public traded company, and as Mel says, she makes more money than all of us. But she has done that because she's mentored leaders so that they can have more time to do the things that they love. And that's what this has allowed me to do. And Carrie has been a big significant part of helping me understand how the business works, but also the purpose of building leaders, and also like the power of what this industry can do as far as giving us our time back so we can impact more. And and I think one thing I've learned from her a lot is that, you might have something great going on, but what if it could be great? What if you could have both? She gave me a hard time a little bit, which I love. The fact I go on vacation with my family for a week, and they stay another week or two, right? I need to go back and see patients. And she said, what if you could have both? And so now, because of this business, I can. And so, Carrie, I appreciate you being on the call. And she's a phenomenal leader. She's an incredible mother. One of the hardest workers I know. I thought I'd worked hard, but she can definitely outdo me on that. But I'd love for them to kind of hear your perspective of how you've helped each of us, and how this can be a part of the business, finding mentors like you, and how we team together to do this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Hearing each of you talking about the science and why you're doing this business. It's just incredible. So for me, I came from a different slant. Obviously, I'm not a physician. I was a retail manager. I was literally a store manager at Bath and Body Works, and at a department store before that. So for 13 years, that was all that I did. Very into health and wellness. A really good friend shared this with me 13 years ago. I had a brand new baby. He was 3 days old. It was Father's Day, and I had a 4-year-old. And when I saw the ABC Primetime Investigative Report, I watched that report in the middle of the night. I stayed up researching it. I was intrigued. Immediately, I thought, okay, if this is true, what could it do for me? But what could it do for loved ones that were struggling with their health? At that point, we only had Protandim Nerve 2, but when I realized very quickly that oxidative stress was linked to hundreds of diseases, and this was shown to lower it by an average of 40% in the first 30 days and up to 70%, my mind was just exploding with options of what this could do. Then, thankfully, she also, shared this business model with me. I did not come to this with
preconceived ideas or negative ideas of network marketing, to me, this business model made perfect sense, because if I believe in things, I naturally share them. Like Dr. Brimhall said, once I met him and saw what all he did, I started just sharing, sending him so many patients you can't even imagine. And over the years, with different therapies or things that I've done and found to be of value, I share those with others. So to me, this business model made perfect sense. It was a win-win. So I got really fired up, and I was very, very coachable. Clearly, I was not the physician. People were not coming to me asking what they should take. But I was passionate about this, and I was told, look, you've got to have a burning desire for change. You have to have work ethic, and you have to be coachable. And I was absolutely able to do all of those. And then I just shared this simply with people. One thing that I love about this business model is we work together as a team. We all have very different strengths. Even just the four of us on this Zoom, very, very different strengths. But I love the fact that together we can achieve so much more. We can fill in the gaps for each other, and we can really maximize our strengths best by working together. So this business allowed my husband to retire from being an attorney. He did commercial litigation. He retired 27 months after I first started this. He was 39 years old. At that time, my son had just been diagnosed. And at that point, we needed time. So this business gave us the time to be able to do the 35 hours a week of therapy. And it gave us the resources to cash pay for pretty much all of that, and just options that we never would have had if that had happened, with our first son as well. So the business has been life-changing in many, many ways. And then that Axio, that brain activation drink, that was what came out when Luke was 4, that caught Dr. Brimhall's attention and took him to another level as well. So life-changing in many ways. One thing that I just truly love, when I really understood the concept of this business model, first, it's a win-win. You're not going to make significant income without impacting lives. And your paycheck is a direct reflection of the lives that you can impact. And this business gives you the ability to leverage. So, Dr. Jessica Bueller, Dr. Melody Rodarty, or Brett Brimhall, they have all shared this and impacted so many lives of people that I would not know personally. But because, you have that ripple effect and people know people, and that's how it has grown into well over 100,000 lives we've impacted. We've helped to retire well over 50 people, and a lot of others along the way. I love the fact that we're publicly traded. As Dr. Brimhall said, we just rang the closing bell on NASDAQ. So it's an open book. If you look at our income disclosure statement, just to give you an idea, the average person that has $20,000 of product going through their organization on a monthly basis, they are earning an extra $3,200 a month. Who do you know that $3,200 a month could make a significant impact in their life? Take a big weight off their shoulders, give them other options. The average person with $100,000 of product going through their group on a monthly basis. Now, that is not, you are not doing that alone, but again, people know people, and you build a network of people taking this product. The average person with $100,000 plus going through their group, they are earning an extra $13,000 plus per month. I'm what they call a Pro 9 in the company. The average Pro 9 has at least $500,000 of product going through their group, and they're earning an extra $50,000 a month. And you guys, it starts one by one. It doesn't start that way, right? But it can grow into that over time. And I will also tell you, so the power of leverage blew me away, right? I couldn't do that one by one. Absolutely not. So the lives you can impact is so much beyond the scope of the people that you can, work with one by one in this business model, but also the ability to build residual income. So this is all based on a 30-day consumable product that the company ships direct to the consumer month after month after month if they continue to take that. And you're getting paid month after month for sharing this information with them once. So the power in building a business based around these groundbreaking products that have a very high reorder rate month over month, and what that can do for you as a business, and to have that income coming in month after month. You just heard multiple doctors talk about, being on vacation, right? And not getting paid, but yet you still have overhead and your employees and all this. Well, what if you could build another stream of income that came in with or without you over time? And what if you inherited a team of mentors that went to work with you, teaching you how to do this, locking arms with you, so you're not in business alone. You have people guiding you and helping you and leveraging other strengths as well. That's what this business can do. So it has completely been life-changing in many, many ways, both health-wise and business-wise, for my family and for so many loved ones. This business has given us the ability to truly have time, when life hits you. We've seen that, with different people over the course, life can hit really, really hard. And what if you did not have to worry about your paycheck or time and where you needed to be, so that way you could be with those that needed you the most? This business has given that to us in a big way, and it's just so freeing. And again, you don't get anywhere without helping others. This truly is servant leadership. So your impact is the size of your check is directly related to the impact that you make. So I want to turn it back to Dr. Jessica Bueller, and thank you all so much for sharing, and just honored to be a part of this.
So I want to close us out and allow time for you guys to ask some questions. This obviously went longer than we even anticipated, but we don't want you to leave unless you really need to leave, and just really want to thank you for your time. And I think that reminder of the power of just helping one more person has been a driving force for me. And like I told you at the beginning with my story, that I really wished I'd had the opportunity to share this with the one friend that I lost. I really hope there's one person in your life that that might be looking for something else. And there is just that. There is a lot of power in one person, the ability to help one who can help one who can help one. And that is really, really what we're doing here. So if anyone has any questions for either Dr. Melody or Dr. Brett or Carrie or me, we're all here to listen and answer. Most physicians have the same questions. I'm sure you're shocked that we all ask the same things. So it's always good to hear what's going on in people's minds and what they're thinking.
So one of the questions on the chat there, what are the questions? Do you have any questions? I think we put them to sleep. No, they're looking up PubMed.gov right now, and they're reading the studies. That'd be good.
I did one thing you did forget to mention that you did break your leg, which also makes practicing a bit challenging.
Yeah. I've talked to so many colleagues of mine that chiros are hard to get disability insurance, by the way. But yeah, what really made me really look at the business harder, I was getting great results with patients, but when I broke my knee, I really looked at it hard as saying, okay, what if I couldn't practice? Like, what would I do? And I love what Dr. Melody said, like, this fits in perfectly with who I am, which is helping people in the health space. And so Carrie helped me see what the vision could look like. And we went to work, which then, I don't want anybody injured, but how many chiros, a good friend of ours, who's a chiro that's in the company as well. He had severe back pain for years, had to modify a lot of what he was doing. The collagen changed all that. So not only the product can be life-changing from a physical standpoint and let people stay working, which is good, but it can in fact change your ability to have options that you didn't have before. So what some of the questions you guys are asking on, like disease specific, why don't you message whoever personally invited you, and then let's have that conversation. Okay. All right. Well, if you have specific questions, please get back to the person that invited you. What some of the other questions you might have with some of these other things with patients, then let's maybe chat on those. Well, what I've learned is give it time. When it comes to this business and these products, it only works if you do it. And I've watched that time and time again with people, people want to lose 30 pounds in 10 days, right? Whatever. It only works if you work it, right? And so when it comes to, making lifestyle changes and life changes, consistency. And one thing I've loved about the products that you don't have to doubt if they work. Now you have a nice validation, but I've watched them work in people. But also the same with the business. I've been in practice over 20 years now. If I don't go see patients this next week, I'm still getting paid. Right. That used to be my main source of income. Right. So if you don't have something yet, and this isn't it, find something, please, that fits for you, because life does happen. So Dr. Jessica, Dr. Melody, Carrie, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us. And everybody, thanks for coming on. And have a lovely night. Okay.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
You.